What is up, everybody? This is Atticus the Death Metaler. As you can probably see, I had a haircut, I know. I hope all of you had a wonderful and happy holidays. Hope you all had a Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate in the holidays. I hope you had a very wonderful holidays. But as 2013 has drawn to a close, and we've all had some really good times and really fucked up times on 2013, I decided I would make this a great opportunity into bringing out and comprising a list on my iPhone of my top 10 favorite album releases of 2013. Now this is just my list, so if your band is not on there, not my fault. This is just my opinion. These are just the bands that I thought were my favorites of this year. So let's get right to it. If you want to know what that sound is, that's my new puppy dog. I'll show you right now. Sorry. This is my new dog, Herschel, Labradoodle, 4 months old. He's a big boy though. So yeah, it was 2 years since the death of my my puppy of my Schnauzer Mickey. So this was a really big surprise and a really great Christmas present for me. So now that's out of the way, his name is Herschel, just so you know. But let's get right to it. So top 10. Number 10 on my list is Conceived in Sewage by Slam Death Metal Titans Devourment. The album was produced by Eric Rutan, who is noted for his acts on Morbid Angel and his current band Hate Eternal, and he has also been known to produce some of Cannibal Corpse's albums. I thought it was a pretty good and decent album. Not a big fan of slam death metal bands, just because some of the releases they make are just like poorly recorded and guttural vocals and stuff. But hey, that's just my opinion. If you like slam death metal, go right ahead. I'm not stopping you. But sadly, it was probably their last release because Somewhat Devourment split, which was a shame because I was starting to like the band. But yeah, that was number 10. Number 9 is Everblack by the Black Dahlia Murder. I put the Black Dahlia Murder's Everblack at number 9 because it was the album that they released prior to the departure of Shannon Lucas. Their new drummer was alright, I gotta give him credit for that. It was just not the same without Shannon Lucas. But they did manage to bring out a really good release, regardless of like what happened. I did like the songs, the Goat's Departure, and Everblack, Phantom Limb Masturbation, and of course, Raped in Hatred by Vines of Thorns, which was in tribute to one of my favorite horror films, Evil Dead, the remake, not the, no. Sorry about that. The original one, not the remake. My bad. But yeah, Evil Dead was a good movie, so the Black Dahlia Murder decided, make a song out of that movie. And number 8 on my list is this one. Immolation's Kingdom of Conspiracy has to deal with the ongoing shit that's going on in today's society. We have wars of aggression, the oncoming collapse of the dollar bill, the police state, Syria, like the invasion of Syria, all that stuff, ongoing political corruption, government shutdown. So Immolation's Kingdom of Conspiracy was the release on those issues of what's going on in the world. So I thought it was a really good album, really great release so far. I was really impressed by Immolation. They always do a really great job on making the albums that they strive to make. So on to the next one. Number 7 is Winter Kills by Devil Driver. It was a pretty good album so far. It was not one of my favorite Devil Driver releases, but I loved it regardless. Loved the songs "Desperate Times," um, the Appetite, and the cover for "Sail" was a really good and decent cover as well. So yeah. And also saw Devil Driver live. They were pretty fucking badass. If you have not seen the video of my time at seeing Devil Driver After the Burial in Trivium, I highly recommend you watch that video. And number 6 is this one. If you can see it. The mediator between the head and hands must be the heart by Sepultura. Now I did like this release by Sepultura because they added elements of experimental noise. If you do not know what experimental noise is, I highly recommend add the link in the description below. Check out my friend Vivi Vex's music page on Facebook. He's a great friend of mine. I know him very well. So Sepultura added elements of experimental noise on that release, as well as the usual tribal music to their releases so far. I really enjoy Sepultura very much. This was pretty much the year where I got to enjoy Sepultura, regardless of Cavalera, regardless of Derek Green. Sepultura's a great band nonetheless. Number 5 is Waiting for the End to Come by Cataclysm. It was the release where it was the album where Max Dummel had to quit Cataclysm due to his alcoholism, so he had to enter rehab for that. So I had to put that album on number 5. It was the release where Cataclysm had their new drummer from, I forget his name, but I know him from he was a former drummer for Neuraxis. He did pretty good nonetheless. It was an awesome Cataclysm album. It was just not the same without Max Dummel. But Cataclysm always brings out a great release. And number 4 on my list is Amon Amarth's Deceiver of the Gods. Now, I wanted to see Amon Amarth at Mayhem Fest, but due to midterms going on, I did not go to Mayhem Fest. Plus, Behemoth's departure from Mayhem Fest. I wasn't a big fan of the drumming that Frederick Anderson had to do on Deceiver of the Gods, but it was a pretty good album nonetheless. Amon Amarth always is a pretty good album, but it wasn't one of my favorites. I'm still on to With Odin on Our Side and Twilight of the Thunder God, but it was an alright release nonetheless. Number 3 was Soilworks, The Living Infinite. It was an amazingly beautifully written album. Not only it was an awesome release, it was a double release. Plus, they were an awesome band that I saw live. Great and awesome bands. And number 2 is 13 by Black Sabbath. Great, honestly amazing album by the originators of the genre that we love today. Black Sabbath 13 really holds close to what the tune, the style of which Black Sabbath originally started, but it was still not the same without Bill Ward. Black Sabbath is not Black Sabbath without Bill Ward. That is why it is on number 2 on my countdown. And finally, the coup de grace, numero uno of my top 10, Labyrinth by Flesh God Apocalypse. The reason why that I chose Labyrinth by Flesh God Apocalypse as number 1 of my top 10 favorite metal albums was not because of Francesco Polloi's awesome and epic drumming. We all know that Francesco Polloi is an epic drummer. It's due to the fact that if you look in the booklet of the album, let me get this out quickly, is that the orchestra had notable people For first violins, it was Dino Cazares, Francisco Artusato, Brian Isbach, George Fisher, Mark Holcomb, Kai Haito, David Kinkade, and Matt Sotelo. Second violins, Marco Chinguillo, and Sventi Kaule, Kerm Lechner, Stephanie Barbie, Jar Menpa, Derek Boyer, Tony Lazaro. Vocals were Frank Mullen, Francesco Artusato, Till Lindemann, Nick Barker, Stefano Rossi, Rob Halford, Glenn Benton, John Williams, and the list just goes on and on. If you look in the booklet of Fleshgod Apocalypse, they have notable people of the metalhead community that have worked with Fleshgod Apocalypse on this release. And that is why that this album is number 1 on my top 10 favorite metal releases of 2013. Without further ado, I am Atticus, a death metaler. Like this channel, subscribe to it, like this video, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I hope all of you have a wonderful metal day, and I hope all of you have a wonderful and happy new year.